Okay, record.
Welcome to Final Tribal Council. Congratulations, everybody. We have lasted 34 days in this game, almost close to a real survivor. This is the largest jury we've had, and we are thankful that all of you showed up to the final three. Congratulations. You guys have played all three amazing games, all three different games, and tonight is your night to prove why you should be this season's winner. We're going to go into the opening pleas / statements. And Javen, you are up first.
Okay, so I just want to start by saying, first of all, public speaking is not my thing. So if I'm stuttering or if I'm speaking fast, I'm so sorry. I am looking at 10 jurors here. The majority of you guys are my friends. So all I ask, please just hear me out, because I feel like a lot of you guys already have your decision made up. Please just give me that respect and just hear me out, because I would do the same thing for you guys. Honestly, this season was really hard. Try to put yourself in my shoes. When you know a lot of people and you have so many connections, it's really hard to just play the game, because you have a bond with a lot of these people. But all I ask for is just for simple respect, because I am a big reason to why I'm here in the final three. And I do believe that Daniel and Krista are here because of me as well. So thank you.
Okay, up next is Krista.
Okay, I have a lot, so just bear with me. Okay, so I'm just gonna lay out my game and explain kind of what I did, and then I'll get into specifics and the questions and stuff like that. But coming into the game, I really had to work to make some connections on my tribe specifically, because everybody that I did kind of know was on the other tribe. I set myself up really well. I was in a majority alliance. I positioned myself to where my name was never gonna be thrown out, but I could throw out other people's names. Going into the merge, I would just like to say that if you felt like I wasn't a part of many of the votes or didn't play a big role, that was definitely my intention to seem that way. I wanted it to all come out now so it wouldn't further the target on my back in the game. And obviously I'm sitting here, so I think I did a pretty good job of that. Starting off, I had a pretty strong core alliance with Javen, Ty, and Daniel. I also had very strong individual relationships with David and Devin coming in. On top of that, I felt like I could reconnect with Marcy, Seth, and Ellie, since I was previously on Mavo with them. Throughout the entire merge portion of the game, I was able to control, I was able to control votes and be a huge part in absolutely everything that happened without actually making a huge name for myself until the end of the game. I will absolutely go into more detail at the end, but anyways, so I was one of the main did throw out Justin and Brandon's names very early on, and I was a big part in actually pushing their name to people. I made it known to people who I knew that would be down to do that, such as Ben and Ty and even Marcy. I was open to doing them, and it eventually led to both of them being voted out. After that, I felt kind of okay with David because he told me about the merge idol clue. However, after multiple people came to me saying he was actually trying to plant seeds of doubt and put people against me, I felt like he really didn't have my back. And it was also definitely my strategy to seem kind of closed off and not talk to the other side as much so that they would vote me. It seems weird and counterintuitive, but at the end of the day, in that situation, if I made David successfully throw his vote onto Ellie, I would be safe no matter what if an idol was played or it wasn't. And it gave me a very good reason to come after people later on in the game as well. However, Javen did play his idol on me, and I also told David to vote Ellie, so I covered all of my bases and it worked out in my favor. In the Ellie vote, I provided lots of information to Ellie to get her to flip, because I was trying to talk to people. I was trying to get the best case scenario for my side to make sure we had majority, but Ellie seemed to be the only one who was actually open to flip. So after the confirmation from Ben that they were voting Ellie, I, gave my information, and he thought it was best to vote Ellie, which sent her home, and it definitely helped my game in the long run. As far as the Bella vote goes, I feel like I was totally in control of it. I was the person to throw out her name and get my hands dirty with the other side, trying to get Marcy and Seth to flip on her, while also making sure Ben and Ty would be down to vote her. Her own side flipping on her really only benefited me, as I got more information about advantages in this game, as Marcy had the bag search and told me what Daniel. And I also got somebody out who was super close to Daniel and was a big threat to me specifically. From this point forward in the game, I feel like my strategy and my social game really does show. At the final 8, I totally knew about the Daniel blind side the entire time. And there obviously was a side plan to vote Ben. And I told my alliance that I wasn't going to vote for Ben because I didn't have the heart to do it. But in reality, the real reason was because I knew that there was a plan to blindside Daniel, and I wanted to throw my vote to make it a majority without actually having to make, make myself look like a target and look like I was going after Daniel, I kind of pushed it on to Ty and kept my name out of it. In reality, I was kind of the one to make it happen because I knew where all the votes were going. And that also helped me in the final 7 when Daniel made the deal with me that he wouldn't vote me if I wouldn't vote him at final 6. And, you know, who knows what would have happened at final 6, but regardless, it saved me, that tribal council, because he was so against Ty. He kept me safe, which definitely helped me, and kept me safe from rocks, which also got Marcy out, who was a definite big threat to me. At the final 6, Devin came to me with a plan to vote myself, and I agreed only because I knew that if I agreed to that plan, I ensured that Devin and Seth were both voting me, and I knew Daniel wasn't going to vote me then, so that the votes would land 4-2 or 3-2 to 1, and it would ensure that Devin goes home with a majority. At the final 5, I was the one to come up with a plan to force rocks, which definitely worked in our favor because it was the only smart thing to do at that point in time, because, you know, it ensured me, Ty, and Javen, who was my final 3, were safe, and no matter who then idol was played on, it was going to go in my way, and that definitely helped me keeping Ty in this game, because he did bring me to the final 3 because he put himself into fire and didn't put me into fire. Ultimately, though, just as a cloud over that, I knew about all of the throw votes. I knew about all the idols and advantages at some point. And oh my God, no, 15 seconds. Oh my God. Anyways, I knew about everything. I knew where all the votes were going. I had a huge role in absolutely every vote off, and I feel like I played my cards this season.
Okay, and last up is Daniel.
All right, so kind of like what Javen said, public speaking is not my best thing. It might come as a surprise, but I've been super nervous all day, so just excuse me if I slip up a little bit. But I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that I ran the game, because I didn't. I don't think Krista did either. I definitely think she was taking a lot of credit for things that were not fully hers. So I'm just gonna tell you my game as I see it. So I came into the game pre-merge. It's all about eliminating people who I think to be who could be potential floaters in the game, and honestly trying to keep the powerhouses in for the long run. So votes like Ryan and Janessa. Ryan was actively throwing on my name. She was the first person to say my name this whole season, and she went the first tribal. Janessa, unfortunately, we know she's a queen, but I had to do what I had to do there in order to keep the bigger threats in the game. Pre-merge, I think making relationships with David, Brandon, Devin, Bella, all these connections, and obviously Javen, even Ty, I covered my tribe, Nate even. I had really strong individual connections with this, and I was practically untouchable until the swap. At the swap, I definitely hit a low point. I did not get lucky and get put on a tribe with my friends. I was put on a tribe with 3-person group, which was Nate, Marcy, and Seth. And then also I had Bella R, who I'd never talked game with. And then also I had, oh my God, blanking on the other person. Nate, no, not Nate. Oh my God. Ellie, I'm so sorry. So Ellie, obviously, she got blindsided. I was left out of that vote. I found an idol very early on. Mind you, that was the only idol that I found with a clue of mine. I'll get into that a little bit later. So going into this, I lost Ellie, who was a number for me, and I found myself Bella R getting saved. By the way, I was the reason that Bella R got saved. I believe I vocally said out in a challenge. I was like, hey, everyone say Bella R. I'll take care of the models. I went into that tribal council. I played an idol before the votes were even cast, telling Marcy and Seth, I'm voting Nate. You can either hope that he votes with you or send yourself home in a rock scenario. So I was the reason Nate ended up going home. However, even though that tribe was extremely divided, relationships that I made with Marcy, relationships that I made with Seth, and even Bella R, I loved her. Unfortunately, she didn't get to make it to the merge, but those relationships really helped me out in the merge. And just because we were on different sides, I never said, I'm not going to talk to Marcy, not going to talk to Seth. Those relationships did end up helping me in the long run. Going into the merge, I do think I had a good deal of votes early on that I was very, involved in. Do I think that I completely ran the votes? No. I think that keeping powerhouses in the game is very important because you don't take all the heat. Working with Krista and Ty and Ben very early on was extremely powerful alliance. And I feel like we very much work together as a group. I do think that I pushed my agenda. I was able to protect people on the other side that I really wanted to work with, like Bella, Devin, and Marcy in particular. Early on, I specifically did not talk to Ellie and Seth, the first merge tribal, because I wanted to be able to throw people's names out in order to build trust with them. Later on, I realized doing that with 2 people was burning 2 bridges I didn't want to burn. I saved Seth a little bit later, but then I started reaching out to Ellie. We had a really good conversation, and I felt really content with the bonds that I had on my tribe. I do think that I am a big reason that the tribe was as divided as possible. I'm going to get into the whole idol business as well, but there was a time in the merge when Krista and Ty found the idol, or got told the idol clue from David. Also, I forgot to mention David's name earlier. David was definitely a connection that helped me down the road. But David told Ty and Krista the idol clue. Later, a few days later, Krista and Ty told me and Javen. I was able to find that idol. Next day, David told me his idol clue. I was completely shocked. I go out and find the idol. I then go to Bella and I'm like, hey, Bella, listen, there's this idol clue. You know, I figured the idol was going to get claimed sooner or later. So I was like, with already having it in my pocket, I was like, hey, Bella, listen, you need to like find this idol, help me find it. She goes, finds it, it's claimed. I'm like, I think Krista has it. I basically like hype up Bella in order to go against people like Ty and Krista, causing a divide. What's so perfect about this is that I know I'm on one side. I'm not going to get votes from my group. Me and Bella kind of have an understanding. Listen, protect me over there, protect me over here. Similar to the Ben Marcy connection from what I've heard. So it was really beneficial to have someone on each side protecting myself. Moving forward, also, right after I found that idol, Javen had 2 idols before that. I went to Javen after finding the merge idol and essentially guilt tripped him into giving me one of the idols. I was like, Javen, it's just, I really want one. And like, it's not fair that you have 2. He ends up giving me 1 idol. Later that tribal, he ends up playing an idol for Krista. I started that round with 0 idols, Javen having 2. I left that round with having 2 idols and Javen having 0. Moving on to the game, I feel like after the Bella blindside, I had hit a low. The people I had been working with had blindsided me. I go into the future and, you know, I'm kind of just having to win immunities. I've won the most immunities. All right, I've won the most immunities in Snake X Island, the whole franchise. Coming in as like a plus size person, I didn't think that would be a huge thing. Some of them were definitely more physical than others. I definitely proved that big girls can do it too. And I'm just super excited to be sitting here and pleading to you. I asked you to be open-minded. I'm sure, I do think that me, Javen, and Krista all played great games. However, hear me out. Love you guys. All right, sorry, Zach.
Thank you, Daniel. Okay, so now let's move on to the second portion of the final tribal council. The jury is now, you guys have a voice. You guys have been sitting on the sidelines, watching every single tribal, collecting information. You guys had a bonfire yesterday where you discussed outwit, outplay, and outlast. And now you guys have the turn to ask the questions that you find missing in people's games. Justin, as the very first juror, you will get to go first.
So how much time am I getting? How many questions? You can explain that.
3 minutes total per person, like kind of a wrap. Just
okay. I'll try to keep it short. Javen, a lot of the jury feels like at some point in the game, something flipped for you and you no longer wanted to win this game and you were okay with Daniel, Krista, or Ty winning. Is this true? And why do you think we feel this way? That's my first question, or my only question for you.
It's definitely not true. I've been desperately wanting to win a game. However, this is my second Survivor game. The first Survivor game, I tried to get rid of the big targets. I ended up getting rid of the big targets, but I ended up going with them. So I made sure that if I was going to the end game, I wanted big targets because at the end of the day, like I love a good fight. I don't like dragging people that I can easily beat for like an easy win. If I want to win a game, I want to make sure that it's a very beneficial win. It was a really good win. I wanted to keep those big bets in the end because at the end of the day, their names would be in people's mouths, mine wouldn't. So it was definitely part of a plan to keep those people at the end. I wanted Daniel, Krista, and Ty with me in the end from the very beginning, and that's exactly what happened.
Okay.
I could see why you guys might think it's, you know, for other people, but it was definitely beneficial for me. Sorry.
Okay. For Daniel, we as a jury most of us have given you or coined you as the one who made the dumbest move of the season, and that was sending the vote to Ross where Marcy went home when you had the opportunity to single-handedly send home Krista. Do you think that was a mistake now looking at the final 3, or do you not regret your choices by doing that?
I didn't know how much you guys liked Krista. In my opinion, I thought Krista was definitely not an extreme front runner just from being in the game with her. I kind of thought that she stuck to her side. I thought people from the other side would not respect that. So maybe in hindsight, maybe voting Krista out there would have been smart. However, Marcy going home in that tribal council was not the best, the worst case scenario. So Marcy had told me that, you know, Daniel, you're immune right now. Like the next chance I get, I'll probably vote you. I was a threat for Marcy in this game, and I think that she knew that. We definitely respect each other's games though. So I wanted Ty to go home in that tribal. I'm not gonna act like I did not want that to happen. I took a risk that didn't pay off. Krista being in the game, I did not know 100% that the fire making challenge was gonna be auto fire. I wanted to have Javen there to be willing to vote for Krista in the end, so I wasn't looking at a 3-1 vote. I needed some kind of threat in the end to balance out my level. So yeah, Ty going home was the goal, but ultimately Marcy went home, who was someone who was kind of playing the middle. I do think that Marcy could have came in here and probably, taken up a spot at the end. And I personally liked Marcy's game, so I probably would have voted her. So I was just hoping that, it would free up a spot.
Mm-hmm. And Krista, I don't really have a question for you, more of a statement. Personally, tonight, I would love to see you win this game. So for you, I'm telling you, be open and don't claim things that weren't yours. That's all I'm gonna say to you. And the jury, y'all can talk, have fun.
Okay. Up next is our second juror, Brandon.
I'm gonna have a fun time with this one. I'm not really sure where I'm going with this. I guess I'll start with Krista. Krista, I think you played a good game, to be honest. I really respect the game you played. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little annoyed when you kind of sort of lied to me on the way out the door, saying that you never had Ty's idol, and that I wish you would have just been honest with me if I was going home, but it's okay. I understand. It's whatever. I'm not. As well as I do think you played a good game. I think it had some flaws with it. Just the jury's perception is that we don't feel like you really played with the other side that much, but that's just kind of how I feel about you. Daniel, same for you. I feel like at the end of the day, I don't think you'd be in this game if you weren't saved in the pre-merge by your friends. I think having friends definitely came in a benefit of your game. Speculated cross tribe, but I don't know that for sure. But so I'm not going to say anything about that. But I do think you played. I think you could have done a little bit more outside of finding idols and winning immunity. And Javen, oh Javen, I know you wanted people to come into this Final Tribal Council open and willing to do anything, but I made this before Final Tribal Council, so I'm going to say it anyway. Roses are red. My IQ is high. I would tell you I'm voting for you, but I'd rather not lie. So I have two questions that are yes or no, or not yes or no, they're one word answers from all three of you. My first question being, because I know all three of you can answer this one, which friend did you rely on the most in this game? And my second question, which also requires a one-word answer, what do you think your chances are of winning this game? I'm doing this for Logan, 10 being you're winning unanimously, and 1 saying you have no shot. I don't really care who goes first. Please answer both questions.
I guess. Well, first of all, I would like to kind of defend my game a little bit. Would you mind if I took a second? So I think blanketing my gameplay as someone who won immunities, yes, I won 3. That's not a ridiculous amount. I mean, 3 is just kind of, I feel like I'm not average, but a little more than average. I think that should be respected possibly. But the idol that I found pre-merge, yes, that was an idol that I found. The other 2 idols I got through connections. My social game got me the idol from David. Krista and Ty told me that clue. Also, David told me that clue. I did not find that idol. I got told a clue through my connections with them and was able to find that idol. And then I used that idol to pin 2 sides against each other. Also, what was the other thing? Oh, I played with friends coming into the game. Javen and Bella were my 2 friends. Me and Bella rarely worked together. We worked keeping each other safe on other sides. But right when the merge hit, we were definitely on different sides and we definitely did not share a lot of information together. In fact, Krista, I had never played with her in a game before. We had never even DM'd before this game. So Krista was not a friend coming in. Ty, I love Ty, but I did not know Ty really at all before this game. And then Ben, that was my alliance at merge. Me and Ben had possibly not been on the best of terms coming into this. It was a little milky water there. So I do not think I relied on my friends at all. If anything, I think I really branched out and made new connections. But your question was one more time.
So I had a couple questions, both being one-word answers. Number one, I asked, which friend do you think you relied on the most? This is for everybody, not just you, by the way. And what do you think your chances are of winning this game? 10 being you're winning unanimously, 1 being you have absolutely 0 shot.
I think I relied on Bella the most. And then I think I would say my chances are, with the way I'm getting talked to right now, maybe 4 out of 10.
Javen, Krista?
Okay. Javen, do you want to go or me?
I'll go.
I guess.
Oh, you want to go ahead.
No, okay. I'll just go. I'm just gonna answer the questions. I think the person I relied on the most was Ty, and I think that my chances of winning are 6.
Fair enough. Javen?
To be fair, I'd be lying if I said I kind of relied on anybody. Everyone kind of had like their own secret person, their number one. I played along with my alliance, but in reality, I did the moves on my own, not really because of someone else's. No one could sit here and say that they did, I did somebody else's moves. I did it on my own terms. And the chance of me winning, it's definitely not so good. You can kind of tell when you go into tribals and people are rolling their eyes every time you talk, or you guys really didn't make it secretive when you guys would comment on other people's stuff. So I know the result to it after, but one thing I won't do is give up, and I won't lie either. So
Fair enough, and that's very respectable. I asked you all
Thank you.
one-word answers because I know I'm going to hear you all talk enough tonight, and I'm sure I'm going to love every single second of it. So good luck.
absolutely.
Okay, usually we would go David next, but unfortunately Ben has something later with those. So we're going to skip ahead to Ben and then head back to David after. So Ben, you are up.
All right. Hi, guys. I have been waiting a while to talk to you. It is so great to sit here and finally get to air my shit because I have different shit with each of y'all, and we're going to talk about it now in front of the jury. First of all, before I begin, I just want to say, Krista, you had the jury favor before this final tribal council started, and I just want to tell you to chill because I don't know how good it's looking. So don't, just chill. I'm going to start with Krista then. That just came at you. So when I left, I said, don't pretend like you didn't know about the plan. And then you made that confessional screaming at me. And you know what? What's done is done. That's whatever. That was very fun, and that will be informing my vote. But basically what I'm frustrated about, Krista, is that I really valued you in the game. And I guess that is good social game on your part that you made me think that. And you said you did everything you could have to save me, to make it not be me. You definitely did not. The very least you could have done was told me. So my question to you is, why was Ty the one to tell me I was getting votes? And why didn't you ever give me a single heads up? Because I was under the impression that I was one of your closest allies. Clearly that wasn't true, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be true. It's a game. You played pretty well socially. But I want to know why you didn't tell me.
The reason why I didn't tell you was because you weren't upfront with me that vote either, because you didn't tell me about the Daniel plan. Marcy didn't either. You actually just told me to throw my vote without much reason behind it, because after Javen was very openly against you at that tribal council, I felt like you kind of knew what was going on regardless, because we were all whispering without you, and we were all kind of talking without you on Discord. So I did kind of figure that you already knew and you just wanted to save yourself. But I obviously knew that you were voting Daniel the whole time, which kind of pissed me off, because I was like, wow, he's really not even going to tell me, because I did like you as an ally. But after I figured that you would have told me maybe even the night before tribal council when you figured it out. When you didn't, I felt kind of blindsided by that. So I kind of felt like I should just do what I wanted to do. And although I did want the majority to land on Daniel, I wasn't just going to openly say like, hey, if it doesn't work out, you're going home, because I felt like we were lying to each other at that point. Even though I was open with my vote to you, it obviously didn't have the best intentions behind it. It had good ones, but obviously it didn't turn out that way. So that's ultimately the reason why.
All right, thank you. So I guess that means it's Ty's fault, because Ty told me about the Daniel plan. I didn't figure it out. And Ty told me that you were throwing your vote on Seth specifically so I would go home and you wouldn't get the blood on your hands. He told me that you wanted me to go home. Or at least that's the impression I got
that's
from
not
Ty.
the case. I definitely wanted Daniel to go home by throwing my vote so that it would go 4-3-1, because I knew where all the votes were landing, but I did know if an idol was played on Daniel, which I didn't want to happen originally, I knew that you would end up going home.
Okay, and that's okay. If you wanted me to be a casualty, that's fine. I just got the impression from talking to Ty that you were very willing to let me go home, and that's why I didn't tell you about the Daniel vote. And Ty, I don't want to hear from you. You're not a finalist.
That makes sense. I would just also like to defend myself there. Coming into it, I really did not want to vote you. I mean, when I think about it more, I feel like in the long run, it definitely was best for my game. You were good at immunities. You had your connections with the other side way better than I did. And I wanted to work with you. However, at the end of the day, there wasn't much that I could do to flip anybody else. So the best that I could do was tell them, hey, I'm not voting Ben. And I truly meant that at the time. But then when Ty said that there was a plan to blindside Daniel, I thought this is even better for me. So I'm going to throw my vote as I was going to do originally, but there could just be another plan that I'm trying to make happen.
All right, cool. And I also just wanted to speak up another thing. I don't like that you claimed the Bella vote. I don't think that was you. You said that you reached out to Marcy, and you did. But I spent a long time that vote bouncing between calls with you and Marcy, telling you, no, Marcy's open to work with you, and telling Marcy, no, Krista's open to working with you. And so I would like to think that I brought you guys together. And yes, you did reach out and have the conversation, but I would like to think that I was a little more influential in actually bringing you guys together to trust each other to vote for Bella, that neither of y'all were going to blindside each other instead. So I just want to say.
No, you definitely were. By claiming that, I was more so just saying that I kind of pushed the narrative as to why Bella should go to you and Marcy individually. And although you did kind of bring us together, I felt I just originally brought it up way before, and I was telling the narrative the entire time that Bella should leave because I realized it was best for my game. And that's kind of why I said that.
Okay, cool. All right. Okay, cool. Thanks, Krista. So that's all I've got for you. I did enjoy playing together. It was very fun. It was fun that we got, stayed on the same tribe the whole game. So good luck tonight. I'll go to Javen next. So Javen, I just want to say, you know what? I'm not as angry at you as I may have been before. You didn't really give that much of a speech at the beginning. I really would have liked to see a little more fire from you. So it seems like you're a little bit resigned to your fate at this point. And basically, my complaint with you is that I don't really know what you did in this game that was smart. Like, I credit you with the Justin blindside because I walked into a call with you and a couple others, and I was like, what's the vote? And you said, I really want to vote for Justin. And I was like, oh, cool. That's a strong plan. I'll go with that. So I credit you with that. And people have said you were behind the Janessa and Ryan votes, but I don't know how that was smart. And I would have liked to hear that maybe in your final plea. But maybe the thing I want to ask you about is something I brought up before, which is that I came to you and expressed that I felt like I was on the bottom of our group. Which is, by the way, to all three of you, another reason why I hate this final three, because I liked you guys. I am the reason that y'all had the majority because I planned that whole Ellie blindside. I'm the reason you guys are here tonight because of that vote all through the entire course of the season. So you're welcome. But basically, I felt like I was on the bottom, and I clearly was. I was the first person to get clipped off before Final Four, and all y'all made Final Four without me. So it's whatever, it's a game, but I feel like I was in the bottom, and Javen, I expressed that to you, and you hit me with, I'm sorry, I really want to work with you. I don't want you to feel like you're on the bottom. I really want to talk with you more moving forward. And then you voted for me the very next tribal council. So I just want to hear from you. Why the fuck did you do that?
I've been thinking about our conversation that time you was in the car. I generally did feel bad because I really do like you as a person, Ben. You're like one of my favorites in the fandom. It's not even for a jury vote, but it's just really because I really do like you. So I genuinely felt bad the fact that you were feeling down. To be honest, you were at the bottom of our alliance, and you knew that too. But at the time, I couldn't have you feeling like you were, because at the end of the day, we needed you. We needed you as a number. So I didn't want you to ever flip because at the end of the day, we needed your number. So I had to make sure that you were good. But I don't think about the future in games every time. Week after week, I think about step by step. I didn't know we were going to vote you out the next tribal. However, Daniel was my number one coming into this game. And I heard that you were coming up with a master plan to get Daniel out, which, yes, you could argue and be like, but I didn't come at you. That's fine. But Daniel leaving was so bad for my game because you can easily team up with Marcy and Seth. You also had Krista. Krista leads into Ty. And I already feel like I may have been at the bottom without Daniel. So unfortunately, because you had this plan to come for Daniel, I was like, okay, Ben has to go. I really do like you, and I wish I could have taken you further, but I was like, no, he is going to come for Daniel, so I had to let him go. I told you, though, when you were in the car, I was like, whenever I was going to vote you out, I will tell you, and I did tell you. I know it was wrong place. Of course, I let you argue with me because anybody would be upset if you're being told, hey, you're getting voted out. So I didn't mind you being so angry. I would be angry too. But I didn't want to lie to you. And I think that's what the whole tribe was trying to do. They were trying to lie to you. And I was just rather just be like, fuck it, like, I'll tell him straight up because he's already leaving. So why kick him while he's down?
Okay, so what I just heard is you did Daniel's dirty work and think you deserve my vote because you were honest with me at Tribal Council. I knew you were voting for me, Javen. Ty told me the night before. And I want to say that the reason you keep losing games is because you don't plan ahead for the future. So start doing that. Great, done with you. Okay, Daniel. Hi, Daniel. I am not as turned off from voting for you as you may think. I know you don't think you expressed that you don't think you have a good chance, but I'm not so sure about that. You fought real hard this season. You had a lot of odds stacked against you, and you persevered through a lot. So I commend you for that. With that being said, and this is also a flaw I think that I find with Krista and Javen's games as well, is that you relied on your pregame connections. You were closest with Bella. You expressed that you would never vote for her. Chris, I don't think you would have ever voted for Ty. Javen, you would have never voted for Daniel, which is, you said he was your number one coming into the game, and that's just bullshit. That's not Survivor. That's Friendvivor. You're not playing the game the way it's meant to be played. And you know what? If you think you're too close with your friends to target them, then whatever, you're just not competitive enough for my taste. With that being said, Daniel, I think you fought through a lot and I commend you on surviving. However, I think you also had a lot of opportunities to take the power seat and didn't do so. I think your biggest mistake was at Final 7 when you voted for Ty instead of Krista. And I think that was a chance to get her out because I think she is the bigger threat in this final 3 besides Javen. And that was a chance to get her out that you did not take. So I want to hear why you didn't take that.
Okay, so in the final 7, I was public enemy number 1. I know that right now Krista is like the number 1 pick to win, or what it seems like. But in the game, please understand that like it was me. Everyone was like, Daniel's winning unanimous if he gets to the end. That was the picture being painted. So when I'm in the final 7, even final 8, and I'm looking around and I'm like the number 1 person that needs to go, and I think Krista is next to me, having that go and having like 3 or 4 more votes to plan ahead, and maybe I was banking on like not winning immunities. Like I said, I was not confident in my challenge ability, so I felt like I had to have other avenues. I could not simply rely on a physical game, because look what I'm having to deal with now because of that. So I was like, Krista, keep me safe now, or I'll keep you safe now, keep me safe later. Ultimately, obviously, I had to play more risky at the end because I would have gone home in many scenarios had I not won immunities or had those idols. And yeah, so the main reason was trying to keep someone who I could pitch to get over me in the end, and that was the main reason for keeping Krista in the game. I know a lot of people see it as a flaw, but I do think that it gave me better odds. Had me and Krista both lost in an immunity challenge, I do think that I had a pitch to get Krista out versus a Javen, versus a Ty, versus a Seth, versus a Marcy. And also, I know, Marcy, I'm so sorry, but Marcy going was not horrible for my game. She was definitely after me, ready to take the strike. And having someone like that would A, not be targeted before me, and B, would 100% vote me, even more so than Krista would. I think I had more leverage with Krista than I ever had with Marcy. So having that in the game, out of the game, was not horrible for my game.
Cool. Okay, cool. I guess that's all I have. Another thing I was going to say earlier, but I forgot to, is Daniel, it's reached the jury that you have been saying a lot, oh, I've never lost in the final 3. And that leaves a really bad taste in my mouth. So stay humble. And to all 3 of you, this honestly has not cleared a lot up for me. So good luck to everyone.
Okay. Up next, hate to jump around, but we're gonna go to Ty. Ty also has something going on, but
sorry for. Oh,
you're fine. So Ty, you're up next. David, thank you for being patient.
All right. I feel like y'all have been bashed enough tonight, and I'm only gonna be a minute. I have no questions for you. I just want to say congratulations. I think all 3 of you played phenomenal games, regardless of what the jury says. My vote is pretty much decided tonight. Not out of bitterness, but out of loyalty, and I mean that's just my position for who I'm voting. But for real, any of you guys win, I'm going to be so happy for you. I love meeting you all, and good luck, honestly.
Okay, now moving back to David. David, finally the floor is yours.
Hello. There's like a glare, but congratulations y'all on making the final 3. You guys all deserve it. Being in the final 3 is something that we all couldn't do, and it should be recognized. So don't feel bad about yourselves whatsoever. I think a lot of y'all are actually impressing me. Like I was already impressed as it was, but I didn't expect to be as impressed with some of your answers. So I guess I'm just gonna keep it short and simple. I would like the finalists to close their eyes, and I am going to be saying the other finalist names one by one, and you have to vote. You cannot vote for yourself. I would like to see if you were a juror, who would you vote for? So go ahead and close your eyes. And I will start with Daniel.
Wait, really quick. I'm sorry. Is this in the event of like a final two with the other people, or?
No, this is more so like if you were a juror, who would you vote for? So in your case, it would be Javen or Krista. All right. All right, eyes are closed. Who would vote for Daniel to win? Who would vote for Javen to win? Who would vote for Krista to win? All right, you may open your eyes. And thank you. Good luck to you guys.
Okay, up next is Ellie M. You have the floor.
Okay, hi guys. So I'm gonna be honest, throughout this game, I don't think I was the closest to any of the three of you sitting there. We didn't really work together. I mean, same page. I don't even think we were in the same book, to be honest, in this game. But I mean, I feel like a lot of you guys relied on pre-game connections. I know that's been mentioned a lot, but I think you guys did have that advantage that I didn't have. So my first question I'm going to ask, I'm sorry if it's kind of been asked, but I wanted like to hear it directly. So this is a question for all of you. Who name one person in this season that you had never met before coming in, that you had never interacted with before, that you worked with in the season? I don't mind like where you start.
Mine was Ty. I've never met Ty. And he definitely was my closest ally. Not a shocker there, but yeah, mine is Ty.
You want to go?
Go, Krista. I feel like I always go early, so I'm like.
Oh, sorry. I would say Brandon.
I actually think that I reached out a lot to the other side, but I think my connection with Marcy/Devin was a connection I did not have coming into here. I also worked very closely with Ty, though.
Thank you. My next question. Okay, so you guys, you're all friends, right? You've all been working together throughout the season. You've been hyping each other up, making sure you're all like protected throughout the season. So I just want to have you guys actually criticize each other. So this question I'm gonna ask is to all three of you. Why do you think the other people sitting next to you don't deserve to win? So throw away the friend Fiverr shit. I want to hear why you think the people sitting next to you don't deserve to win this game. So we'll do the same order that you guys already spoke in.
I don't believe Daniel should win because I do feel like he, in order for him to survive in this game, he needed idols, mini challenges, and advantages. I had the same thing as well, but unfortunately, there was a point where I didn't. And my social game has really gotten me in a way where I was connected with a lot of people. That's on Daniel's part. And Krista, I do feel like as much as I really didn't branch out, she really didn't branch out at all. She really stuck to just her side. And that's pretty much it.
Oh, I forgot I was going next. Sorry. I don't think that Javen should win because, like he said himself, he didn't branch out. But on top of that, I think that some decisions he made weren't necessarily more individual decisions. I think that it can be seen as him kind of just grouping along with a certain group of people. And at the end, I don't think that that was the best way to go with the jury, it looks like. And I also don't think Daniel should win because I think that he had actually multiple moves this season, one of them already been spoken about, Final 7. I think that also multiple things could have been avoided at Final 6 or Final 5 as well. And I think that he could have been a bit more risky, but he didn't take those certain risks. And he only played very closed in. He didn't really branch out. He didn't think about using an idol on somebody else because it was very obvious that he could have just used his idol on Javen and gotten Ty out, and he didn't do that. So I feel like he made a lot of really bad decisions towards the end of the game just based off of, ooh, I need shields. But you shouldn't be thinking I need shields. You should be thinking I need to come out on top over everybody. So that's why I don't think he should win.
Well, I obviously I don't think either of them breached out like nearly as much as I did. I tried to keep an open agenda. Even I feel like when they did breach out, they were never actually considering. I remember having conversations with almost every single one of the people from the other side, especially like more so as we got deep into the game, where I was actually willing to make these moves. These two, I feel like they're claiming moves that they've walked into versus like actually going out of their way to achieve them. I also would like to say that I'm the only person sitting in this final 3 that did not consider giving up at one point. At final 6, Javen had mentioned to me and Ty about possibly giving up. And then at the final 5, Krista went to Javen and Ty and said, vote me out in the event that I don't win immunity. That was told to me. Krista's making faces, but that was what was told to me. So that's another thing. I had gone like a dark horse throughout this whole competition. I wouldn't say a dark horse, more of like I fully went through and never gave up. I never rolled over and died. When I was safe, yes, I did win immunities. I feel like anyone would be stupid not to go for an immunity at the final 6 or whenever the chance was. But did I get off Discord? No, I was always active on the Discord. I was always going forth, having these conversations. I never sat back and was safe. I think that's pathetic. I was always on the Discord trying to make these new connections and trying to make these moves.
Okay, that's it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Ellie.
Thank you, Ellie. Up next is Bella. Wait.
Okay, hey guys. Just want to say congrats for making it to the final 3. Can't say I'm surprised because I was in the game trying to get all 3 of you out probably at one point. I would have voted Daniel out at one point. Definitely wanted Krista out. So I definitely wanted Javen out. So like, can't say I'm surprised that you 3 are here. So congrats to you. Anywho, I guess like what I want to know, like, I mean, like, I don't really hold like any animosity or like anything. Like, I'm like taking in tonight. Like I did have thoughts going in who I wanted to vote for, but like I don't really care that you voted me, like because some people who did vote me, it made sense for you. You know what I mean? So I won't take that bitterly if you thought I did. But like I guess vice versa to what Ellie had asked you guys, I want to know why you think the others should win. Except I'm going to give you specific people. So like Krista, I want to know why you think Daniel should win over you. Javen, I want to know why you think Krista should win over you. And then Daniel, I want to know why you think Javen should win over you.
Okay, I'm just gonna go first since you said it in that order. I think that Daniel should win because I think that regardless of how it may be perceived, I think winning immunities and as well as finding idols and advantages, not necessarily based off of what he did, but the connections he made, people giving him information. I think that he did a lot with them. And I think that that should be something that should be, you know, rooted for because it's really impressive to get those. And when you do get those immunities, you play the oh my God, I'm like, okay, sorry. You play the game a harder and stronger than you ever would. And I feel like he definitely did that. He took risks sometimes and he definitely reached out a lot to the other side, trying to branch out. I feel like Seth was one of his closer allies as we got further into the game, which definitely helped him a lot because he looks like he reached out a lot more than anybody else. And I feel like his game pre-jury was probably one of the more stronger of all of us.
Is it my turn? I think Krista should win because as much as I said she didn't really branch out, she was able to survive. At some point, a lot of you guys wanted her out in the beginning of this game. I luckily used the idol on her. She never really asked us to, you know, help her out. We just wanted to help her because she was a number to our side. So the whole like her having to survive after a lot of people wanting to come at her multiple times, and she's able to be here in the final 3. It's definitely why she should get the win.
And I think that Javen should win because Javen really came in here and played hard. I played alongside Javen, and I know that he came in here. He was always active, always down to talk game. This was definitely a huge priority for him, and I respect dedication. I also think that very early on in the game, he was one of the more influential people in terms of like alliance building and the structure of the rest of the game. Early on in Merge, I also think he had like a lot of leverage, and that is why I think Javen should win.
Bella, do you have anything else?
No, that's it. Good luck, guys.
Okay. After Bella was Ben, but Ben already went. So up next is Marcy. Marcy. Oh.
I'm here. Sorry, I was typing out. I have a lot of shit. Okay. So just a disclaimer to each and every one of you. I don't hate any of you. I don't dislike any of you, but this is the final test for me. I'm going to be dragging each and every one of you. My questions are going to be very intense. So I want to see who can persevere the best and answer my questions the best. So don't take it to heart. I'm just going in on you bitches. So let's start off with a bang. Javen, let me look at my notes. I didn't rehearse. Okay. Javen, whose pussy tasted better, Krista's or Daniel's? I'm kidding. Now for the actual question. I want to see you fight and play Survivor. So what is the flaw in each of the finalist games that you felt you did better?
I definitely feel like just my social game in general has gotten me better. I was able to connect with a lot of these people pre-game, to be honest. I mean, pre-merge, if we were being completely honest. Pre-game as well, I did have a connection with Bella and Daniel coming into the game. Also Evan. I had already a connection with Krista because we both lost notice. So we was like, let's not do it again. Let's fix that mistake. So I knew coming in here, along with Krista is tight, so I was able to build that connection. Brandon was really cool, so I was able to have, you know, a bond with him. Devin and Marcy, I both knew you guys from Noted, and we didn't have any bad blood. So coming in here, I was really cool with you guys. Fortunately, I didn't know Ellie M. She tried, but I didn't because I didn't want to get too close with her because I knew at some point I was going to cut her off, unfortunately. So I didn't want her to be hurt by it. And then me and Justin's relationship has always just been rocky, so I knew that cutting him off wouldn't be a big deal. So I definitely feel like my social game has gotten me here, and I didn't need anything to get me here. I am a big reason to why Daniel's here. You know, I gave Daniel that idol. He was able to get my idol, but he ended up giving me one later on. I used the idol on Krista when a lot of them wanted her out, and I purposely did that, not because she asked, but because a lot of the people wanted her out. So I wanted to do the opposite of what people wanted to do, and that's been my whole thing of the game. When someone wanted me to do a specific thing, I purposely did the opposite, just so that nobody could use me as a jury speech.
Alrighty, next question for you. Javen, during the season, I remember us having a conversation about you saying you didn't want these people in the end with you and that you were going to play smart and you were here to win. So let's say I didn't go home and I did, and Seth was rocked out instead. What were your plans moving forward in the game with me specifically?
To be fair, as much as I love Daniel and Krista, I definitely was lying to them. I wanted you and Ty in the final three with me. I wanted Krista out fifth, but unfortunately she won the immunity. And I wanted Daniel to go fourth. I love Daniel so much, but definitely Daniel's name is so big that I do feel like he has a shot of going to final three. So I wanted him out, and I wanted you and Ty in the end. However, you going home, going to Rocks wasn't that bad, but I really didn't want it to happen. But that's just, I was being completely honest. I was waiting to make the shot, but unfortunately you left. You got rocked out, so.
Okay, so next person. Daniel. All right, Daniel. So you told me that people on your side of the game spoke bad about me. What was that about me and who said it?
If I'm being quite honest,
I want the truth.
I feel like my whole alliance didn't really like you. I feel like they found you annoying. I think Krista really didn't like you. I'm sorry, Krista. And
don't apologize. I want the truth.
That is the truth. I don't want to like throw no one under the bus, but since you're asking, I think it was like mainly Krista, but I do think you annoyed Ty and Javen at times as well. So that's what I was referring to. I wasn't lying.
Okay, and do you recall anything specifically that was said?
Like the size, like, oh, I don't want to talk to her. Oh, it's Marcy. Oh, like that kind of stuff. Just not really wanting to talk to you.
Interesting. All right, and next question for you, Daniel. Instead of going with the numbers and successfully taking, let me see, hold up. Okay, so instead of going with the numbers and successfully taking out a strong competitor, you were stubborn in your ways and threw your vote on tie, risking the lives of me, Seth, and your number one, Javen, which resulted in me going home, you being on the bottom of the game and having to win your way towards the end. How can you sit here and defend that dumbass game decision and convince me that you should win?
I feel like I already touched on this a lot, but I will go ahead
A
and
little
go
bit,
over
I know. It was already what I wrote before.
No, you're good. So like I said, I think that that's what's being looked at as my biggest flaw. I really do not agree. I think that whether Krista had went or you had went or any of the others had went, I was going to be in a situation where I had to either play idols correctly or win immunities. I think that you going, Marcy, really freed up the end game. I do think that a lot of people, like, whether or not they thought you could win, I think that you were getting taken to the final three in a lot of people's scenarios, including mine, had you not got rocked out. So having that spot open at the end is the spot that I'm sitting in right now. So I think that you leaving at that time and not taking out Krista, I really wanted the game to be more balanced. I did not want it to be Daniel, everyone else, and more so it looked like Daniel, Krista, like Ty, Jay, you know what I mean? So I just wanted a more open end game, and I didn't want to steal my fate by voting out the other person that could seem like a bigger threat.
Okay. And then Krista. All right, so Krista, besides using your majestic pussy to use your minions Ty and Javen this season, why should I give you the win, considering you really never had to fight much this season to stay? The entire pre-merge, you were definitely set up on your original tribe and swap. I really don't want to hear it. You definitely were. So coming into the merge, you didn't really have much of a challenge in terms of staying until Belle decided enough was enough and wanted to actually do something in the game, unlike you and your friends were. So what moments in the season were you really fighting?
Honestly, I would say final 7, final 6 were the points that I were really fighting. I honestly would say that my journey has been a lot easier than most people. I don't think that that should be taken as a thing that's like kind of looked down upon. I think that I, had it, the connection the connections I had made. And honestly, half of the reason why I didn't talk to you guys sometimes was honestly to get you to vote me. During the David plan, I wanted you to vote me so that if an idol wasn't played on me, which it was, even though, Javen is telling the truth, I didn't ask for it to be played on me. He just did it. If that didn't happen, I wanted to be safe in rocks. So that was kind of my strategy coming on, putting up a front, not really talking to you guys as much as I maybe should have or branched out and stuff. But when they decided enough was enough, I did have to fight. But definitely when people started saying my name as like a big front runner to win, when people started talking about me being like, Krista needs to leave, Krista needs to leave, that's when I had to start fighting. I had to really bump up my strategy in my social game at about final 7 when Daniel made that deal with me. I took it. I was scared at first because I didn't know if he was lying to me or not, but I took it. I had to fight for it. At final 6, I had to do what I had to do, lying to Devin so that I knew where the votes were going, and I definitely had to fight for my position there.
So you started playing at final 7?
No, I did not start playing at final 7. I started fighting for my life because that's when I started realizing that people were actually going to vote me out, because before that, people weren't going to vote me out. They didn't try it. My side wanted me there. Other people wanted me out, but they didn't really act on it as much. So that's just when I had to defend my own name, but I didn't start playing at final 7.
Okay, and then last question for you, Krista. All right, Krista, throughout the season, you definitely stuck with your friends when it came to your gameplay. And with that, you seemingly ignored multiple people that are sitting here in this jury. Why should I reward your gameplay when you had the luxury of not having to actually venture out to people? You played it with your friends and left it at that. Why should I give you the win?
I think that you should give me the win because I have strategy. Because like I've said before, I wanted votes to go on me because I also wanted people to target, because it wasn't my intention coming in here to just target all the people who I wasn't friends with previously, because I wasn't friends with Javen or Daniel coming into this either, or Ben, for a matter of fact. I didn't really talk to him before this. So I didn't think that I wanted to play a friends game, but I think it ended up being that way. And I was okay with it being that way because I had people to come at, they had people to come at me, and it was just a friendly little fight from what I think. But going forward, I think that maybe I should have reached out a bit more, but I don't think I ignored anybody, especially when I was trying to flip Ellie. I made multiple attempts to reach out to people to see who was the best bet to flip, to see if I could flip Ellie, if I could flip you, if I could flip Seth, if Devin was willing to do anything, if Bella was willing to do anything. And ultimately, I just went with talking to Ellie. I actually invested lots of time into her. I invested my whole day or in hours talking to her on Discord, actually. So I don't think I ignored her. I worked with you for the Bella thing. And going forward, I talked to Steph quite a lot. I did talk to Devin at mostly Final Six, but also during the Daniel, Ben, like that kind of situation. So I don't think that I completely ignored people. I think that it was half strategy, but when that wasn't the strategy to shut myself off, I definitely feel like I did reach out, but people just didn't see it.
All right, and then last question for all of you. Who's the prettiest juror?
Steph.
Bitch, I'm waiting for an answer.
Steph.
Marcy, of course.
Marcy.
Okay, moving on. Thank you, Marcy. So, Devin, you are next, our 8th juror of the evening.
Thank you, Krista.
Hey guys, so I originally had game-related questions because I felt like I needed to know more about the games that you guys played, but the other juries asked them. So I'm going to ask questions that more revolve around myself. So I'm gonna start with Krista. The tribal that I went home, you knew where essentially all of the votes were going, and I told you to your face that I felt like I was probably leaving and that you had control over if I stayed or if I went. So my question to you is, why didn't you tell me that I was going home, and why did you let me get blindsided at the Final Six, even though you knew you were voting me out the entire time?
The reason why I let that happen was because I didn't want to lie to you and say that I wasn't going to vote myself, even though I knew the whole time I wasn't going to do it. I didn't want to say that because you could have easily been like, okay, she's not voting herself. This is a lost cause. Let's get somebody that Daniel will do. And you could have easily flipped it onto Ty or Javen and had Daniel vote with you, which could have sent me to rocks. And I didn't want that to happen. So I just want to ensure where you were voting so that if anything happened, I knew that, you know, it would be 3 to 2 to 1 or 4 to 2, depending on where Daniel voted. I just didn't want me to get blindsided. So I realized how that could look on you, but that was just the strategy of the situation.
Cool. Okay. Next, Daniel. I could come at you for the final 7 tribal because I think that was dumb, but everyone else did. So I'm going to ask you, why should I vote for you as a player, although you treated me as an accessory to somebody else by telling Bella that if she touched Javen, that you would get me out of spite?
Oh my gosh, Stefan. Okay, so honestly, that was strategy on my end. Telling Bella that like if she touched Javen was my number 1 in this game. So having Bella think that if she touched Javen that I would take her number 1, would I actually like make a move out of spite? No, I would not have. But in my opinion, like telling Bella that would hopefully prevent her from coming after my number 1. Yeah, it was never like I was never actually going to vote someone out of spite. It was more of just like a friendly threat, just like trying to get Javen safe from getting voted out, because I do think that a lot of information that Krista and Ty gave to Javen, it came to me like through. So I would find out information from Krista and Ty like a day after they told Javen, but Javen would tell me like practically like the day of. So having Javen in the game was like extremely beneficial for me. So if Javen were to had left early merge when like y'all were going at each other, then I would probably not be here right now.
Cool. Okay. Javen Christ. I find it very interesting that the entire time you've been saying that your strongest ability in the game is your social game, because I feel as though at multiple points in the game, you did not only hurt your relationships, you damn near ruined them to the point that at Final Six, I didn't even want to come to you about potentially voting for Krista, and instead I went to Krista. Not only that, a conversation that we had around Final 10, you said to me that the reasons that you were unwilling to flip were because, in reality noted, you lost to Corey and you found that to be embarrassing. And you didn't want to lose to other players who slid by, such as Ellie, Seth, and Marcy. You said you didn't want to lose to any of those people because to you, it would be embarrassing. Although you did not include myself and Bella, you at times did not display any forms of flexibility. You were not willing to compromise with either of us. And although you were not saying it to us, you were implying that you felt the same way about me and Bella, that if you lost to us, it would be an embarrassment. So my question to you is, why should I vote for you when you did not see myself, Marcy, Ellie, Seth, or Bella as players throughout this entire game? And why should I vote for you when you felt like taking the targets to the end was good for you, but you forgot to cut them?
Well, the same thing could be said to you, Devin, if you were sitting in the final trial council, because we definitely had that conversation and you kind of agreed with me. I told you that about Marcy, Ellie, and Seth, but in reality, that is true. Like, I genuinely didn't want to speak to them as much because I know how it feels to get close with people and then cut them off. I was going to lose to a bitter jury yet again. If I lose tonight, I don't believe it's because you guys are bitter. I do believe it's because you guys feel like the other two are stronger. However, that's a mistake that I did in Z where I get too close with people and then I know I'm going to cut them off and they go into the jury being so bitter about to me. So I made sure to just, I wanted to kind of bash people. I wanted them to feel some type of way so that, you know, they could come at me. They could have a reason to come at me. I never wanted to get too close with them because then they were just gonna get more hurt at the end of the day. So I definitely was trying to isolate myself from them. I was trying to bash other people, whatever, so they could bash me, so they could have a reason to come at me because I needed reasons to come at them.
Cool. Okay. Follow up. You once told me that your ideal final six was myself, Bella, Daniel, you, Ty, and Krista. If that had happened, what were you planning to do?
Honestly, at time I was definitely gonna try to get at Krista, and then after that, I was gonna try to get Bella out, and I was trying to figure that out, and then maybe after Bella, Daniel, because you know I genuinely knew that they were just pretty much gonna come at me at some point if they felt like I was playing a really good game. They're really good game players. They know if they have competition, they would definitely take the shot at them. And I knew at that time, as final six, if we had all of us together, then they were definitely the ones to go. I had to think about it. If we were in the final six, I kind of feel like alone because Daniel would have Bella, Krista would have Ty, and then it would be me and you. So I was definitely going to try to do something with you moving forward if that was the ideal final six. But to be honest, Devin, I really do like you and I still do like you, but in the game wise, you took the shot at me first, you voted for me first. So I know I didn't really talk to you as much, but it's because, to be honest, you voted for me and I needed more of a reason to come at you more because I was like, he voted for me, so now I'm going to vote for him.
Okay, that is all from me. Good luck.
Okay, and our final juror tonight, Seth. Seth, you have the final question. You're on mute.
Oh my God, am I next? Okay.
You're last.
All right. Okay, so this is the first initial question is for all of you, so you can, you know, butt in, jive in if you want to. This is sort of like an ego boosting thing, but in the final 8 challenge, when it was the whole touchy subjects thing, did all of you, like, all of you obviously voted that I would be the 0 vote finalist. Did you all really like truly believe that I would get 0 votes in the end, or was that more of like a group sort of hop on, you know, scared kind of gameplay that you guys were doing for the? Yeah, go for it.
Were you done? Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
I was done.
Well, voting you is definitely like obviously majority rules. I wanted to vote you, and although I didn't know how good your odds were at winning, I realized if certain people were in the jury, such as Marcy, I feel like you would have gotten a vote no matter what.
Kind of to piggyback off of that, I thought that that was the most obvious answer, and knowing that like more people would vote that, I voted that as well, so that in like when Ree asked the question, it'd just be easy and like strategic to like say you again so we can take someone out for that round. However, I think that Marcy would have voted for you, and possibly Ben. I think that there's other scenarios too, but I'm like not 100% sure because I haven't been in the jury.
Same thing they said. I remember having a conversation with like our alliance, and we kind of felt like you were giving up at that point. So we knew that as a group consensus that it would be you that's beneficial to, like, your name should be the answer to it, because, you know, at that point you was kind of just like over it, you wanted to go home, whatever. But I knew if you were at the final 3, like they said, we knew Marcy would definitely give you the vote regardless.
You guys clearly don't know me because I have been extremely unbiased, but that's it.
For me, it was like a vote out of loyalty, like similar to that. Sorry.
I understand that. So with that being said, this is also like part two of that question. I have another question following on that. Do you guys think that like groups sort of, ganging up, not like really like as in like, like bullying? I wouldn't say bullying, but just like as in group things sort of influence the entire game this season. Do you really think that was sort of a strategy in this game? Like, do you think that that was like the main thing pushing the season overall? Do you think that was like the strategy of the season was like the sort of group sort of hopping on certain people? Yeah, you guys
I
can
mean,
sort of.
Sorry, go ahead, Javen.
I guess I was gonna start. I mean, I don't remember. Please clear my mind. Like, I don't remember me like jumping on anybody. That obviously, like, we had the numbers, and you guys were on the like opposite end with no numbers. I don't remember jumping on Marcy when she had an argument with Daniel. I don't remember jumping on Devin when he had an argument with Ty. When I had an argument, not even an argument with Chusef, like it was just clearly just me and you. And if any of them were to jump in, I were not gonna sit here and jump on you. I knew you guys barely had any numbers, so why would I kick you guys with that? I wouldn't want that. So I don't remember. I didn't do it. I made sure not to do that. I didn't want anyone to feel like they were kicking while they're down. I didn't jump on anybody. Definitely didn't.
So for me, the only time that I think I fell victim to a group think is when me and Marcy had our fight. I was definitely getting hyped up by people, and I talked to Marcy. We had a productive conversation afterwards. I apologized to her, and she's flicking me out, so I'm sorry, Marcy. But however, I think that I was actually, out of everyone in the final three, the person who was most willing to talk to other people, especially more towards the end game. I refused to just kind of like go along with the herd. I definitely reached out to people. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like I know that I definitely did it with Seth the most. I feel like I did it with Devin the most. I think I did it with Bella the most. I'm not really sure with Ellie, because I mean, Ellie, we had that conversation very early on when we talked about, bonded over you standing up for Izzy, and like I respected that, and I feel like that started kind of our connection. And I really did want to work with you, and I swear if I had it my way, I would like take away Marcy telling Ben that whole thing, and you wouldn't have went that tribal council. But even like with other people like David and stuff like that, I think that I branched out like a lot more and was not victim to like a group think mentality.
I didn't like fight anybody. I'm not normally a confrontational person, so I don't think that I like jumped in on anybody and like kicked them or like attacked them in any way. I don't really think. But as far as votes go, I feel like me personally, everybody kind of said my name. Everybody was saying Krista's gonna win and Krista needs to go. It was never Ty or Javen for some reason, and that made me think that I had a better chance against either of them at the end. So I think for me specifically, it wasn't like, ooh, I'm just gonna vote with a group. I was thinking like they're loyal to me, I'm loyal to them, they're gonna work with me, so I might as well keep them around because I think it's beneficial for my game. It wasn't necessarily like a group thing. It was more so I needed allies and they were my allies.
All right, thank you guys. Now the part two of that is, I want to know, like all three of you. I'm gonna go in the order that I see on my screen. So it's all the same question for you all. What do you think that you individually did? The one thing, and I want you guys to answer this perfectly honestly. The one thing you think that you did better than the other two, and I want you to nitpick each other's games in this sense, because I want to know, have you guys really been paying attention to each other's games? Because my whole thing is I want everyone in the game to sort of scout out other people and sort of like, thinking about other people's games. So like, for example, I want, Javen to nitpick, something Krista did, but Javen, you did better than Krista, or Krista, you think you did better than Daniel. I want you guys to really, analyze each other's games, because I feel like that will influence my vote a lot. So I think Krista, you're first in the list, so I'll go with you first.
Okay, so for the first part, what I think I did better, I think that my strategic game was better than theirs. I think that I kind of sniffed out and thought of things that they didn't necessarily think about at first. I think that there were deals that were made with me and that I took and I manipulated to where it only benefited me, and that happened multiple times, especially towards the end of the season, but in the beginning of the season as well. I feel like overall, I thought of multiple situations and scenarios that would put me in a good position going forward and would keep my allies that wanted me in the game around. and like having people vote me. So if an idol wasn't played, I would be safe in rocks. Like Daniel planned to force rocks to where I would be safe once again to make sure that Devin didn't blindside Ty and send me to rocks. Like forcing a rocks try to get you out at final 5, which obviously got me into final tribal council because the Ty was the only person that wasn't going to put me on fire. So I think that my strategic game really shined through, especially towards the end, but even in pre-jury and beginning of jury, I think that helped me stand out. And I think that was much better than the other people. I'm just going to go one by one. Javen, wait, what was the question? Something that they didn't do well, right?
Something that you think you did better that they kind of flawed on, if you will.
Okay. I think that by hearing these conversations and also what I thought coming into it, I think that I'm better at jury management than Javen is a bit. I think that people are really angry at him for things that he did or things that he may have actually not done. And I think that at the end of the day, he burnt a lot of bridges that maybe shouldn't have been burned and could have been avoided because he just didn't want to emotionally scar people and hurt people. But I think that hurt him in the very long run. And I think that I was a lot better with trying to make sure that I took away my emotions from votes and just did what was best for me in the game. And then something that I think I did better than Daniel was obviously my social game towards the end of the game. I think that I thought through things a lot better than he did. I think I thought through things a lot more thoroughly, sorry. And I think that I set myself up for the end to where I should be able and I wanted to be able to win against anybody. And I wasn't relying on having to get Daniel out of the game. I wasn't relying on having to get Devin out, having to get you out, having to get Ty or Javen out. I was playing to where I wish and I hoped that I could sit here in Final Tribal Council with absolutely anybody and I would win against them. And I think that he was more so thinking I need shields and I need to get them out at the end rather than I need to win over them. So yeah.
All right, thanks. Next is Javen. So.
Did you ask a 2-part question? It's been
no, I basically asked what do you think? Nitpick is in what do you think Daniel flawed on? What do you think Krista flawed on? And what do you think he did better than their sort of flaws, if you know what I mean?
I definitely had a really good read in the game. I knew exactly the week people were going home. I had everything, everybody would tell me everything. There was not one vote that I didn't know about who was going home, whatever. And I think a lot of them really can't say that. Sometimes Daniel was blindsided. Daniel would definitely come at me sometimes because he feel yo, why are you lying to me? Why didn't you tell me this? Why didn't you tell me that? At some point, Krista really just stood with her group. At sometimes, Seth, we had conversations sometimes. Marcy, we had conversations sometimes too. Unfortunately, it's not what you guys wanted, but to be honest, it's because you guys felt like you were expendable to me, whatever. But I was trying to make you guys feel like that because it's true. You guys were numbers to me. I knew at some point I had to cut you guys off, and it sucks now because it does pay off at the end, whatever. You guys are obviously hurt, whatever. But I didn't want the same mistake where it's I get really close with y'all when I knew myself that I would cut you off later on in the game. Same thing with Ellie. Same thing with. Well, I didn't really bother talking to Justin, but it was things like that where it's just I didn't need to do extra. When you were going home, Seth, I didn't really need to pull you to the side a lot and really try to buddy up with you because I knew you were going home and I don't need you to feel going to the jury, feel I kind of kissed your ass on the last few moments just so you could feel good about me in the jury. Same thing with Devin. I didn't bother being buddies with him on his last few moments there because I didn't need him to go to the jury. Feeling same thing with Marcy, same thing with a lot of people. I definitely just stood. I made sure that you guys felt like you guys were numbers to me because that's exactly what I wanted you guys to feel because I knew at some point I was going to cut you guys off.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Last of Daniel.
All right. So I think what Javen and Krista lack in this final 3 are big moves. I think that I was a part of many big moves. So one I didn't really get to talk about that I thought maybe would come up, but it never did, that I would like to elaborate on is kind of building up to the David vote. So after I got the idol clue from Ty and Krista, David then told me the next day, I acted completely shocked. Sorry, David. I acted completely shocked. Soon found it after. That was a handful of people looking for that idol and I was the one to find it. Then also, so David was finds out that the idol's found because I tell Bella, I share that clue with Bella. I plant Bella and Krista against each other very early on, and I basically hype Bella up to like start the rebellion against the other side. And that vote is when she got people like Marcy, she got Seth, she got Devin, she got Dave, all these other people, Ellie, on board to, you know, go against the people who are like quote unquote running the game. I think that I was like instrumental in starting the divide, and I was benefiting, I think, arguably the most from it because I had myself protected on one side, myself protected on the other. David going that tribal was extremely beneficial for me because I really did think that had Bella, Krista, and David ever sat in a room together and compared notes about this idol, then I would be like, I would be in so much trouble because then they would be able to figure out that I had it. But idol fear, causing a lot of idol fear was like really beneficial for my game. So David going then was like really good, even though I did love flirting with him every now and then. But then Marcy, of course, just screwed it up and idol searched me, so whatever. But yeah, I do think that they lack big moves. I also do think that like a big highlight of my game is the fact that I'm being like told that, oh, you just found immunity, you just found idols. Like I said, the one idol that I found was through my connections with David, my connections with Bella, all these other people. That was one of the idols I found. And then I was able to convince Javen to give me an idol and then use one of those idol later on in the game to reform that connection going into the end game. I think that that speaks more on my social and strategic game more so than like being able to just like luckily find idols. So yeah, that's what I would say, Seth.
Thank you guys. I hope that one more thing. I hope that you guys, you know, take on board my Irish, you know, influence on the game, and I hope that you guys learn a few lingos and a few Irish things, and you take that on board into your next games, future games. You know, DM me if you ever need another word to describe anything. And yeah,
Like the
good job,
Irish
guys.
card.
I love
There's
you
the
all.
Irish card.
I love you all, and good luck, guys. I love you all, honestly.
Okay, thank you, Seth. Now for the final portion. This is the final three's chance to plead / say what they want to say one last time. To the final three, say what you were wanting to get asked or you didn't get told or whatever that was, because it seemed to have a bunch of the same questions. Just say what you wanted to say that you didn't get to say in this last 5 minutes. And that's where we're going to go from here. We're going to go reverse order. So Daniel, you are up first. 5 minutes again, no more, or we will mute. Your time starts.
So, okay. All the jurors, I please ask for your attention right now. I am right now begging and fighting for your votes. I really do think that I played a stronger game, and I think I've been shaded a lot for my connections coming in. Justin, you were one of the people who mentioned that. I think that I actually, much like you and ZFameZ, used the connections that I did have to my advantage, but also made many others. Every single one of you on the jury, for the most part, I had strategic conversations with you. I'm not sure that you can say that for the other two people sitting beside me. I came into this game, and I'm not talking about like, oh, fake strategic conversation. I'm talking about like, oh, I actually want to do something in this game, not, oh, we'll talk later, like I'll see who wins immunity. So moving forward, I think that I played bold. I made many moves pre-merge, I made many moves in the swap, and I made many moves in the merge. Like I said, I think these two people are lacking strong moves, and I think to be a good winner, you have to have those strong moves. I was never like giving up. I always fought. The odds were stacked against me ever since the Bella blind side. People were down to vote me. Every single one of Krista and Javen both admitted they did not want to be sitting beside me right here, and that's for a reason. I was the person to beat at the final four. Ty gave up the one thing that is coveted most in this game, which was immunity, to try and take me down, and did not. And I think for a lot of those reasons, I deserve to represent the season. I have really enjoyed not only getting to play this game with y'all, but building connections with y'all that I hope to continue with after this game. Regardless of your guys' votes, I do think that we'll all have a good time. But can I get a time update? I did not time myself for my ending thing. All right. Okay, good. Okay, I got a little bit of time. So, all right, to kind of just more elaborate on my game, like I said, immunities were something coming in that I did not think that I would be really good at. I came in and looking at my size, looking at, different aspects of my life. I've never been super confident in challenges. Coming into this game, I did realize that, no matter shape or form, you can go out there, you can kill it. I came in second in many competitions, and I think I was a huge star. I think everyone wanted me out at some point. No one wanted me to get this far. I think I overcame a lot. I faced so much more adversity than Javen or Krista ever did, even starting on the pre-swap tribes. I faced, I don't want to say a friend group, but definitely a group of people with the models. And I used those connections. I did not burn bridges. I think that Krista and Javen at times did burn bridges and cut off lines of communication and almost used me as a shield in front of them. I think that going into a game, you always have to be mindful of like your threat level. I think I was always extremely, self-aware and was willing to like make whatever moves I could to go into the end. I just ask you guys, I really do think I deserve to represent the season. I know that coming into this, I felt like maybe some of you guys had your minds up, but I really hope that you have had an open mind and open heart and are kind of listening to me fight for these votes because I really do care about it. I do think that out of everyone, I was definitely one of the more active people on Discord. I never gave up. I went on every day. I wanted to, talk to these people and build connections, not only like game connections. I think I had a lot of like really good conversations. Like Marcy, I don't know if you remember, even pre-swap, we had that. I had never cried in a game ever before until I talked to Marcy about, her transition and was like learning about things like that. Had a lot of different one-on-one connections where hearts were touched and all that good stuff. So please do not discredit my game to finding idols and winning immunities. 2 of those idols were not found by me. They were information that was given to me by the connections that I had built. Immunity challenge, hell yes. Everyone here, I know the vote that you got voted out, you wish you had that immunity necklace. Please do not shame me for winning the most immunity necklaces and Snake XL in history. I fought hard for those. And I knew it was do or die at points. So I think I overcome a lot more than this. I really do think that Krista and Javen played hard, but I don't think that they played hard enough. And I do think that that's something that should be wanted in a winner. That's pretty much all I have to say before I start sounding like a broken record. Thank you guys, and I'll respect whatever decision you come to. Thank you.
Okay, up next is Krista.
Okay, so I'm just going to say, I know that people can find it easy to root for the underdog, and I realized that I was not an underdog this season. I'm not going to sit here and say that I wasn't included on all things, because I absolutely was. I was every single vote in the merge portion of the game, and although in pre-jury I was included in on every vote in general in the entire season, I didn't have the biggest role pre-jury because I didn't need to. I didn't want to put that target on my back pre-jury because I was in a good position. My name thrown out and I won immunity. Well, I didn't win immunities, but my tribe won immunities on my swap tribe. Going into the merge, I felt like I had a really good connections with pretty much everybody except for maybe the people who I didn't swap with because those connections had kind of fallen off with like Marcy, Seth, and Ellie and those people like that. And I also had to rebuild those connections with Daniel and Javen because I hadn't been on a tribe with them up until that point. But going forward, I definitely think that I had a huge role in most of the merge votes. Brandon and Justin, I did kind of say that I wanted them out, so I jumped in that pool of people and I voted them out, and I think that it was really beneficial for my game. In the David vote, I heard a bunch of things that he was saying about me, trying to put people against me. I don't blame him for it. I love David, but he is just he's not the best person to work with in this game for me. We always come after each other, so I definitely wanted to vote him. I actually told my alliance that I wanted to vote him because I knew Javen wanted to do it. I know Ty and Ben wanted to do it. The only person that was against it was Daniel. And originally I was just like, okay, don't include Daniel. We're doing it anyway. And then he eventually came around. But regardless, I said vote Ellie so that I would be safe. And I know I may be shamed for not having the most outside connections, but you do have to realize, especially in the early portion of the merge, that was a strategy. I wanted votes. I wanted to be safe in rocks. And I hope that you guys do see that because going forward, I mean, right after that vote, I literally was trying to flip people onto my side. I reached out to everybody trying to flip them. So you can't really say that I didn't have connections. Right after that vote, the Bella vote happened and I reached out to Marcy. I reached out to Seth. I talked to Ben. I put the plan in motion and it worked. And Bella went home, which really heavily benefited my game because she wanted me out so bad. And then I don't think that I was one of the main people that really caused the divide this season. I think people caused it for me, and I was more on an extreme side. It was kind of like everybody's coming after me and Ty, and then everybody's coming after, let's say, like Marcy and Seth. Obviously, Krista, Ty, and Marcy and Seth aren't going to gang up and gung ho against like the middle people. I had to work with the people that wanted to work with me, and obviously it worked out. Javen wanted to work with me. He willingly played an idol on me, which I think should be recognized. I had an idol played on me. I didn't even ask for it. and it kept me in this game and got David out, which was a huge threat to, just everybody. Going forward in the game, I think that my strategy and my strategic game really did shine through. I knew what to do and when to do it, and I knew how I wanted it to happen, and I made it happen. At Final 7, I knew that I wanted Marcy out. I'm not gonna lie, I wanted her out so bad because she wanted me out. And so when we went to Rocks, I was fucking horrified, but when she went home, that was perfect for me. At Final 6, I wanted Devin out, and I made it happen, and I made sure that it was going to happen, and he went home. At Final 5, although it was more so I wanted Daniel gone, obviously he had an idol, so I just had to play my cards the best that I could and ensure that no matter who the idol was played on, Daniel or Seth, that one of them would go home, because at the end of the day, I knew Javen and Ty were both really loyal to me. I knew that they wanted me to go far, and they had both told me towards the end of the game that they didn't feel like they had a very good chance, so they just wanted to see me win. So I felt like the only thing I could do is just try to keep them in the game as well. Yeah, I just hope that you guys don't shame me for some of the connections I didn't or did make, because it was a strategy the entire way through. And I do think that I actually did a pretty good job of reaching out and talking to people when I did do it. But I just hope you do see my gameplay, and I respect your decision regardless. Love you guys.
Okay, and last up is Javen. Take the floor.
I want to start off by saying I did not give up, especially on my opening speech. It was an opening speech. I don't know why opening speech is 5 minutes. I didn't want to sit here and tell you guys everything on the opening speech. And then when it comes to the closing speech, it's like, okay, Jamie, we already heard the same shit. Like, why do you keep going? So I definitely wanted to keep it short. I'm gonna start off by going down the jurors, and say why I did each vote, why I voted you guys each week. Justin, I want to start off by saying you never really trust me in the games, and that is my fault because I've obviously misled that. So I knew coming into a game with you, it was always going to be rocky between you and I because of me. So I just never wanted you to go far in the game, because I know at some point you're going to be like, Javen needs to go, because when I keep voting, that I could go far in the game. So I definitely wanted you to go out, and I definitely was one of the few people that went into an open group. I was like, I need Justin, and that's exactly what happened. Brandon, I loved you a lot actually, and I know it sounds so shady because it's like I knew about your vote, but I was content with letting you go because you like me a lot. You told me that you trusted me a lot. And I know that when someone trusts me a lot, I know at some point when I cut them off later on in the game, they take it real personal. And that's something I didn't want to do. I really like you as a friend, whatever. I still do. So I was like, let me just cut him off now before it's a little bit too late. David, I did find out the Ty would tell me about, your conversations with him. I love the fact that you threw our names out there. I love the fact that my name was being brought up in people's conversations. Good. But I was like, I cannot have David here, unfortunately, because I was like, he's definitely going to be messy later on. He's definitely going to come for us. Ellie M, I didn't speak to you. You did try to speak to me, and I definitely, try to ignore you. I definitely try to move on from you, whatever, because same thing with Brandon. I didn't want to get too close with you when I knew specifically I wanted certain people to the end with me, and you were not one of them. You're such a sweet girl, but I definitely just didn't want to cut you off. You were definitely someone that I can easily vote out later on in the game because I never had that, really good bond with you. Bella, you were coming for me, so it was just beneficial for me to come after you. I never really trusted you, Bella, to be honest. I know I was frustrating you a lot, so I was like, this is really easy. And when you threw out my name, I was like, oh my God, this is perfect. I can finally come for her because she's throwing my name out there. So it was very easy. Ben is such a strategic player. He's not here, but Ben is such a strategic player. I knew his social connections with models and his social connection with Krista. Krista comes with Ty, so he definitely needed to go. Me getting him out wasn't Daniel's work, dirty work. I knew he said that earlier. It was more because obviously Daniel's my number. So if he's coming from one of my numbers, why would I be fine with Daniel going? I need those numbers. I need those numbers to get far in the game. So that's why I cut Ben off. It wasn't because it was Daniel's dirty work. Marcy, I didn't want you to go on rocks. If anything, I actually wanted Ty to go on the rocks, or even Seth, because I knew it was beneficial for me to have you because you really like me on a personal level. I really like you on a personal level too. But honestly, when you left, it wasn't that bad because you honestly constantly had conversations with me where it was like, Javen, can I trust you? Javen, can I trust you? I don't blame you for that because honestly, I didn't have that much conversations with you. I was purposely avoiding you. I wanted to speak to you so badly on Discord, but I purposely didn't because I knew same thing. I lost defensively because I get too close to people and then I cut them off later on in games, whatever. So at that time, I didn't think of having you to the end. So when you left, it was like, damn, it sucks, but I can move on from it because now she doesn't have to question about, can I trust this kid? Devin, you were already at the bottom. It was beneficial. I know a lot of people be like, why did you get Devin out instead of Krista? Honestly, it was beneficial for you to go because if I got Krista out, it would have never looked like my move. Yes, it was beneficial for Krista to go, but at the end of the day, I got frustrated with Daniel because his thoughts were my thoughts as well, but he was so vocal about it that if I was to get Krista out, Krista would go into the jury and be like, yeah, it was Daniel's move. When it really wasn't. It was a thought that I was thinking for a while, but because he was so vocal about it, it's just like, you know what, I'll do the opposite of what people really wanted. That's been my whole thing in this game, just do opposite of what everyone wanted. And then Steph, you know, honestly, it sucked that you went, but you were the only option. It became to you and Ty, and I knew that keeping Ty, he would obviously take me to the final 3. Whereas in you, I'm not sure about that. So it was fine for me to let you go. Obviously, I know it sucks because it's like, yo, why did you take big targets to the end when you know they have an opportunity of winning? But that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted like big threats with me because at the end of the day, they will always look at Daniel. They will always look at Krista. They will always look at Ty instead of me. And that's exactly what I wanted. Unfortunately, it sucks when you have so much connections and you cut them off. Obviously, you guys are going to be so mad, but I wanted to piss you guys off. I wanted to isolate myself so you guys could have a reason to come at me, because me just creating scenarios and finding a reason to come at you guys is going to be like, I don't want to sound too obsessive and all that stuff. So I really like you guys on a personal level. I think you guys all know that I can have an easy conversation with you guys on a personal level. But at the end of the day, this is a game, and I've been such a game bot. I've been, for the past 3 weeks, I've been so involved in SXIS Island. And that's exactly what I did. I've just been involved in the game. That's it. It's all been game, nothing personal. Love you guys.
Okay, thank you, final 3. All season long, you guys have been voting out the people on the jury, but now it is time for the jury's decision, and each one of them will cast their vote for the winner of season 3. At this time, you guys have 5 minutes to vote in your name DM. Hopefully you guys can find them down there. If you need a heart, we'll send you a heart, but you guys have 5 minutes to vote for the winner of season 3 and the cash prize of $50.
Please, heart.
If we don't vote, do we get a self vote?
Oh.
Wait, when did money get involved in this game?
Brandon,
That was always there, girl. $50 was always there.
Since the application fell off.
If it was in the application, first of all, and then the prize got higher, got raised.
Can you say who upped it up? I mean, like, donated?
They asked- they asked-
I swear you were just saying it's not Gabby. I know
Wait,
it wasn't
what?
Gabby.
She wanted
It was
to
me.
be named. She wanted to be named.
Oh, she can be named then. Yeah, I don't care. I just didn't know, like, oh, it was Miss Julie, not Julia Moss.
Oh, Queen from the Void.
Void Julie. Yeah.
Can
Julie
we
from the Void. Oh my God.
add a message to the vote or no?
Yes, but not like long, you know.
Okay, good.
Wow, Julie did deal
Wait,
with
but like I have like a little thing I
Oh,
want to say.
can you heart on my DM? No, wait, never mind.
David, add a heart on it. No, I'm kidding.
Does anyone know who?
Aw, Daniel thinks he's winning.
I know.
I sent the thing to the jury
Oh,
jury chat, so it might be them
Wait, Zach, how are votes being revealed?
right now.
No, but how? Like, are you like sort
Yeah, I'll
of
be like first vote.
Oh.
Like a vote.
Okay, I didn't know because like you were like, oh, I made a winner edit for every one of you and like I'll post it. I was like, are they just gonna like post it and then we have to like?
What?
It's the which one gets most likes in an hour. That's who wins.
No, I
Look.
thought that like it would have been like.
He's like, whichever one's most popular, they won. I don't care.
No, I thought that it was gonna be like RuPaul's Drag Race where they like film one for each person
Oh
and
my
then they
God.
just like air the right one.
Oh my God.
So he's like, Chris, you're first. Congratulations, Chris. He's like, oh my God. Okay, next Daniel. Congratulations, Daniel.
No, literally, that's what I thought it was. I thought it was just like they made it previously. And then they would,
Wait,
like, post
after
the
you guys are done, with like the whole like who wins, you know, can we know who you would have voted for at production and hosts?
We had that question in the jury chat.
Yeah. Oh, did y'all
I
were
think
y'all
it'll be
trying to
on the
avoid it?
gameplay rankings, yeah.
I mean, yeah, gameplay rankings kind of say
I'm
it
gonna
all.
be first on gameplay.
Okay,
No,
but
no,
y'all
no.
said
I
y'all
want to hear it
disagreed.
now.
Y'all said y'all
Or
disagreed.
you can do how like Drew does it, where he's like, "This is who I was thinking of voting for before I went into tribal council, and then this is who I was gonna vote for after listening to it."
Why does he sound like
I didn't know how to do his accent.
He doesn't even have one.
I was like, I don't remember him having one, but okay.
I had to make my voice sound different in some way so you knew it was Drew and not
Yo,
me.
what the fuck was Seth on about with his question?
I'm really hurt that none of the finalists complimented my outfit. So that definitely went into my vote.
Really good.
Wait,
Uh,
do you remember what you
I
asked?
almost
Seth?
said you were like the what was it? Like
Do you remember what you
most
asked,
best
Seth?
looking juror.
I don't know what the
Not that
issue.
I said
I don't know what the problem was. I thought I asked smart questions.
It was really they were the best questions of the entire jury, in my opinion.
Wait, but were they already asked?
You took like everyone's question and like
That's
made
very
it
funny.
rhyme.
Jason here.
But like
All the
I
girls
said
are
at a
coming.
jury, I said at a jury bonfire last night that I was asking those, so it's y'all's
Evan,
fault for like
please, shut the fuck
stealing
up.
my question
You better.
essentially.
Yeah, not the quitter. Why'd you invite the quitter here?
Who quit?
Who are you talking
Evan
to?
tried to lie and be like, I didn't give Gavin my idol. What are you talking about? Like, shut up.
Okay. I gave Gavin the idol because
You should have given me the idol.
yeah, low key I should have. You guys are just so dirty. I'm sorry.
Guys, Evan never pooped in school.
Wait a minute. Wait, why is
What?
Evan here?
Oh my god, Bella R.
Because I
Gets
played better
emotional.
than you.
Oh, they're all here. First of all,
Bella R is here, gets emotional.
Bella
Oh, yeah.
R, my
Oh
girl.
my god, gets emotional.
Oh my
is Janessa
god.
gonna be
Bella
here?
R.
Vanessa's not coming.
Bella Albus, I'm here because I played better than you, even though I
Oh,
quit.
shut up, Evan.
Yes,
Bella,
Janessa said she's
Bella
coming.
are the most robbed of
Where's
the
Janessa?
season.
Where's Janessa?
Is Janessa coming?
She said
Oh my guys, I'm so excited for Janessa.
Oh, she's gonna come for my neck. Oh,
My
well.
fries are like
Bella, the
literally.
Where's Janessa? The
Oh.
Bella R queen.
Wait. No, where's
So
Janessa?
I
Bring her
have
in here.
all the votes. I'm gonna go
Hi,
get
Bella. I'm
the
Bella.
When I come back, we will see who the season 3 winner is.
I'm really rooting for
I
Jaden.
didn't
Come on,
vote.
I
Jaden.
want
I
to talk
prefer
to
to
her
get a
about
self
her
vote.
trust chart. I want to talk
Evan,
to
you
her
bugged
about that
up
trust
because you know
chart.
damn well, you know.
Wait,
No,
okay,
that's so
where?
upsetting. That's so upsetting.
Where's Janessa?
She probably didn't accept the